It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled The Fall Season, the Eiffel Tower 80% Crash. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So here I want to pick up where I left off with the Eiffel Tower dream and the using Bitcoin as a gauge as we entered into this fall season and this 80% crash, going back to the Eiffel Tower and the number 667, that price that I saw in the dream, and it represented the S&P 500 ETF, which hit this price on September 22nd, 2025. This was the beginning of the fall season, literally, and also, metaphorically, I marked it as the beginning of the fall season for the markets, meaning this is going to take place in more than just 1 day, 2 days. This is going to take place over a period of time. And so, also in that dream with the Eiffel Tower, I shared how I saw a long candle. And based on my height to this candle, I calculated this possibly is an 80% crash. For more details about this dream, you have to go back and check out those videos. But that one candle, I broke it down into 3 because I felt led that this is going to be a season of falling for the markets. And so the first candle, represented by September 22nd, on that day, which was again the beginning of the fall season, when the S&P 500 ETF hit 667, we were looking at a large liquidation that took place in the crypto market, followed by a few days later, the all-time high was hit. Bitcoin hit $126,000. That was October 5th through the 6th. And after hitting that all-time high, we saw the second candle, or what I'm calling the second candle. And we saw BTC flash crash October 10th, which was a large single-day liquidation, the biggest single-day liquidation event in history. And just as a reminder, I shared that I felt led to use Bitcoin as a gauge for this 80% crash. I explained my reasons why and the connections that Bitcoin had with this Eiffel Tower dream. Again, you have to go back and watch that video. So here we are, October 10th, 2025, with this largest single day liquidation. I will follow that up with this October 17th date. This is the crash date that I received in a dream a few years ago. This date connects to all of this simply because it was one of the repo dates. The repo dates that took place last year that originally got everything started as far as liquidations and the lack of liquidity, the banks having to go to the feds for help. All this was taking place around October. We know that October was a very special month last year. And so October 17th was one of those Fed repo dates. And so I want to note that here because this date was also mentioned during the time that I was sharing this Eiffel Tower dream. This moves us to October bottom, November top. This was a dream that I shared also during this time. And the interpretation that I felt God was giving me after praying more about this was that October bottom would be represented as the bottom for Bitcoin in the month of October, which took place on October 10th, that large single day liquidation that I mentioned a little while ago. So in October, this was the bottom for Bitcoin, like it was given to me in the dream, October bottom. That will be followed up with November top. I shared that the interpretation that I got from that final interpretation was that November top would be on 11/10. And in November, this was a top for Bitcoin, like in my dream. This moves us to the third candle, and I'm marking this as November the 11th, which was that top for Bitcoin in the month of November. And this candle represents November 11th to the present time. All these dates that was shared here were derived prior to these events taking place. To see more of how these dates were derived, you would have to go back and watch those videos. Again, I was using Bitcoin as a gauge for this 80% crash, keeping an eye on Bitcoin, and a total 80% crash will bring us down to about $24,000 or $25,000 as far as Bitcoin goes. And finally, currently we have approximately dropped 47% out of the 80%. So we're around 66.9 thousand is what I'm seeing here as of today. I feel that once Bitcoin breaks at a certain point, we may see those orders being filled, but that's just, my thinking. Just want to come and just kind of give a quick recap and to see where we are. Let's continue to pray about all of this that we're saying. I know it can be heartbreaking to see our portfolios right now, but God is in the midst and God is working on our behalf in all of this. We have to weather the storm and continue to have faith in what God is saying, what God is doing. He's not going to make us a promise and not fulfill the promise that He's given to us. And so let's continue to be prepared with our buy orders, getting ourselves ready for what God is getting ready to do. Keep believing, keep trusting. Let's keep encouraging one another during this time. And that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.